Nottingham Forest are in negotiations with Tottenham over a deal for Lucas Bergvall. Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign Club Brugge winger Tzolis. Youri Tielemans says his move to Manchester United from Aston Villa is a good step up in his career, and Oliver Glasner admitted that he can't find a like-for-like replacement for Elliot Anderson. Here are your daily Premier League news headlines. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and to another edition of your daily Premier League news headlines, where I'll be going through all the latest news, rumours and reports. My name's Lee The Dorset Spur, and if you're watching on YouTube, please like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. So here are the news headlines today. So Nottingham Forest are in negotiations with Tottenham over a deal for Lucas Bergvall. It's been confirmed to Sky Sports News that Spurs have rejected a £38 million bid from Forest, but it is thought to have come much earlier in the window. Bergvall has been Forest's top target to replace Elliot Anderson ever since it became clear that the Sweden international wanted to leave Spurs. Sources at Spurs insist the 20-year-old is not going anywhere this summer, but Forest are not giving up on their pursuit for Bergvall. Arsenal have agreed a deal to sign Club Brugge winger Tzolis. Sky Sports News understand Arsenal will pay £34 million for the winger, which is a record for the Belgian Pro League. Once Tzolis heard that the Premier League champions were interested, he only wanted Arsenal. Arsenal's move for Tzolis is an independent of their pursuit for Aston Villa and England forward Morgan Rogers. Tzolis was their primary target to replace Leonardo Trossard following his move to Besiktas in a deal worth up to £17 million. The 24-year-old, formerly of Norwich City, scored 17 goals and added 23 assists in 36 league appearances last season. Youri Tielemans says his move to Manchester United from Aston Villa is a good step up in his career, explaining the reasons behind the switch. The 29-year-old midfielder completed a £36 million move from Villa Park this week, penning a 5-year deal. Tielemans had spent 3 years at Villa, making 134 appearances for the club, scoring 10 and registering 25 assists. The Belgian international also scored as Villa ended a 44-year wait for European silverware in a 3-0 win against Freiburg in May's Europa League final. Speaking in his first interview since joining United, Tielemans said, "I think it's a great step up for myself. The club is in a great place and I feel like there is a lot of ambition inside the club. I have big experience, 29-year-old, and I'm ready to push on. I'm ready to make the next step in my career. And that's why this is a perfect club for me. And I feel like the club is ambitious in that as well. They want to win and hopefully be really good on the pitch. So that's why I chose to come here." Aston Villa have agreed a £38 million deal with Wolves to sign midfielder João Gomez. The midfielder is set to undergo a medical on Friday. Over the weekend, Villa are in the process of reshaping their midfield following the sale of Youri Tielemans to Manchester United and long-term injury to Onana. Villa would be another club interested in João Palhinha if Bayern Munich are willing to loan him out again. The midfielder's wages are quite high at the German club. He is also still has 2 years left to run in his contract, so a transfer fee would eat into their budget. Palhinha is still weighing up whether to stay in the Premier League or, at 31, go back to his native Portugal. He has both former club Sporting and their city rivals Benfica trying to sign him. Crystal Palace are interested in signing Christian Matsima from Augsburg. The Frenchman is one of a number of central defenders at the club's shortlist. Palace are looking to recruit a centre-back this summer following the departure of club captain Marc Guéhi in January. Maxence Lacroix has been linked with an exit from the club, with Chelsea interested in signing the French international. However, the Eagles have yet to receive any formal approaches. And Oliver Glasner admitted that he can't find a like-for-like replacement for Elliot Anderson. but did say that the money being brought in by selling the England international will be used to strengthen the squad. Anderson is set to complete a move to Manchester City for a British record fee of £116 million. Sky Sports News understand that Tottenham's Lucas Bergvall is a top target for Nottingham Forest, with negotiations continuing after the £38 million was rejected. While Glasner noted that replacing someone as influential as Anderson is almost impossible, he did say the club has already identified targets to fill the void. But you lose and sell such a great player like Elliott, you cannot replace him one-to-one because he's just doing so well. Glasner said during his press conference, but yes, we defined our profile with our midfielders. We want to add, we have already identified them and now we have to get those deals done. The club is already working hard on this, and as soon as the ink is dry, we will let you know. I think I have the profit from selling Elliott Anderson to Manchester City, and now we want to replace him. Now we are looking where we can strengthen the squad with the profiles we defined. And then it's how we get these deals over the line. Bournemouth have confirmed Alex Jimenez moved to Fiorentina on a season-long loan. The deal includes an option to buy for nearly £17 million. Bournemouth will retain a 30% sell-on clause if the deal does become permanent. Jimenez is currently the subject of an external investigation which is still ongoing. While this is in place, he can't play in the UK and is currently suspended. Como are meeting with Chelsea today to close a deal to sign Trevor Shabara. After two rejected bids, a fee of around £29.7 million or €35 million is expected to clinch an agreement between the clubs. That will be inclusive of bonuses. Inter Milan were also interested in Shabara too, but it looks as though the player is set to join Cesc Fabregas' squad on the famous lake in northern Italy. Shabara, who has one cap for England, did not play a minute for England at the World Cup, being an unused sub for all but the opening Croatia game. So thoughts on these stories? Well, this one about Lucas Bergvall just does not seem to go away. It keeps coming up day after day after day. So it does feel a little bit like the Vuskovic deal. My only concern around this is that Tottenham were already starting to build a squad for the future with youngsters and so on. And yet here we are looking at maybe selling another one of our very good young players. And we can see other clubs also investing in lots of young players for the next 5-10 years. Tottenham were ahead of the game for that, but unfortunately had to rely on them for too much, in my view, and that's why we now need a lot of ready now players. But those players will only have a certain amount of time before we start looking at the decline. So we need to make sure that we do have good backup that we can kind of introduce into the squad as time comes on. And I do think that Bergvall would be one that I personally would be trying to keep, if I'm being honest. Tielemans moving from Aston Villa to Manchester United. I'm really surprised that it's taken so long for Tielemans to move on from Villa. I do rate him as a player. I liked him when he was at Leicester. I was surprised that he stayed at Leicester and then went on to Villa. And it's no disrespect to either of those clubs, but I do think Tielemans is a better player than those clubs, if I'm being honest. But yeah, a move to Manchester United, I think it's a really good move for him. You know, a big club. It's got lots of experience of winning lots of stuff. Even at their lower points, they've still managed to really turn things around and do good things. So a good move for him for sure. And I do think he will fit in well there. So it'll just be it'll be interesting to see how that one develops. And finally, I just wanted to touch on the João Palhinha one. I personally hope that Palhinha moves on from England, goes back to Portugal. I really hate to see him in another Premier League shirt after doing so well for us and saving us from relegation last term. I think it's a shame that he's not someone who could be part of a bigger squad at Tottenham, but with no European football, it's just not going to happen. So, but that's me being nostalgic, and I keep saying we shouldn't be too nostalgic about players. We cannot fall in love with loan players because they will need to move on, especially if they're older players. Anyway, That's it. Thanks for watching and for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do like, comment and subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. I'm Lee The Dorset Spur. I've got my own channel. If you want to come and say hi, that's great. If not, don't worry. I'll see you on the next one. And as always, up the Spurs.